All right, so we're going to be going over the damage capabilities of, I would say, the two most prevalent imaginary DPS units. Obviously, that being Imbibitor Lune, and then the most recent unit being Dr. Ratio. Now, this is a thing that I have been contemplating and thinking about, as in, obviously we got Dr. Ratio for free, and as you can see here, single DPS damage at E6, granted, he does 1.6 million damage. At E0, it's still a quite hefty amount of damage at 583,000. And then the caveat here is that he is free. So with rerun banners now being more prevalent and speculation as to who the next characters would be, it got me thinking with Ibibder Lune. Now, with a single target, obviously, it's not really something you want to focus on because him and Dr. Ratio do two completely different things, obviously. Ratio is a follow-up damage dealer who is fantastic with Topaz, and that's just his shtick. He is a follow-up damage dealing single target unit. As you can see here, there's no multi-target units because he can't do that. He just does single target. While for Imbibitor Lune, he can do a single target and he can attack 3 targets at once. So with this, you have to take it with a grain of salt because at E6, single target, he doesn't even hit a million. However, at E6, with 3 targets, he hits 1.7, which is just barely. Now, granted, you're probably thinking like that's a little over 100,000 more damage. Well, yes, but it's still a little bit more than Dr. Ratio. And then for the 3-hit units, 778 compared to 583. So yes, they do two extremely different things. So you're probably wondering, why are you making this video? Why are you talking about these two units? Well, it's because, like I said, we got Dr. Ratio for free, who I think is actually a phenomenal DPS hunt imaginary unit. If you want to get his Lycone, that's a whole separate thing. If you want to spend or save, again, a whole separate issue. What I'm discussing here is that because we got Dr. Ratio for free, do you save and spend on the Imbibitor Lune rerun banner whenever that comes out? Because for me personally, I started when Kafka came out, and Imbibitor Lune was like right after. I did not get him, and I wanted him for a while. However, with Dr. Ratio now coming out into the game and being a free unit who does an exceptional amount of damage, I'm actually thinking about just skipping Imbibitor Lune because, he is just raw damage. That's all he does. He does not provide a whole lot to your team, and he's very SP hungry, as you can see here, minus 26 SP compared to Dr. Ratio, which is minus 11. So in terms of team composition and how your team will overall work, I actually think Dr. Ratio is better. Now, granted, he is very specific on the team he wants to be on, because if he's on Topaz's team, he's going to do stupid amounts of damage, and it's going to be only propelled even higher because of being with Topaz. I, for one, do not have Topaz, but he's still doing a lot of damage. Imbibitor Lune, you can throw on any team, and he's going to do a lot of damage, but he's not going to provide anything else to your team, and he's going to be consuming a lot of SP. So I do think there is a positive and negative to both characters. Obviously, with Dr. Ratio, the follow-up damage is fantastic. He really can go on a lot of teams. Granted, the negative is that if you really need Topaz, but that's also a huge positive because he does stupid amounts of damage. And Imbibitor Lune, on the other hand, a huge plus is he dishes out a lot of damage, as we can see here. However, also another positive that he can be splashed on a bunch of different teams, but a huge drawback is that he is very SP hungry. He wants to use as many skill points as he can, and as a huge downside. So if I had to say, I'm a brand new character after this update, let's say, after the 2.1 update, because that is when Dr. Ratio for unit is not going to be available anymore. in terms of those two units, now we're taking away the free aspect away from Dr. Ratio. I think Imbiber Lunae actually might edge him out just a little bit. Granted, this correlates altogether with rerun banners as to how long you have to wait for each individual character, because we don't know the 2.0 banners. Obviously, we don't know the rerun characters for 2.0 as of yet, officially. So I do think, in all that in mind, and we take away the free aspect away from Dr. Ratio, I think Imbiber Lunae might be a little bit better. However, on the flip side, if we include the free part of it, obviously Dr. Ratio is better because he's here. I'm really interested to hear what a lot of people who have both characters have to say and their opinions on it. But that's going to be all for me, and I'll see you all within the next video.